Alright, thank you. So it should be on.
Yeah.
Alright. Should I tell him we're good?
Yeah. I can let him know.
Alright.
Perfect.
I'll make sure it sounds on. Test. Test. Test.
Alrighty. Hi folks, thank you so much for coming out to our Woodwind Ensemble final concert. We've had a great time this year preparing this music, so we hope you enjoy it. We're going to be playing some things that we have not played for an audience before, and we're really excited to share them with you. Our first piece today is called A Touch of Mozart. In a way, it's kind of like a chronology of our year, because this was the audition piece to get into this group, and it's in the style of Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart. We hope you enjoy. Thank you very much. As you can see, we have a variety of woodwind instruments up here on stage, and over the course of the afternoon, I'll introduce everybody that's up here. Our next piece today is a minor matter. Minor meaning, usually we think of sad or maybe kind of a little bit upset kind of sounding when we think of minor. Major, we tend to think of happy, upbeat. So this is a little bit of kind of a sad quality to it, but we're still going to enjoy it anyway. Here's a minor matter. be? Well, I'm going to take this opportunity to introduce some of our members of the group. So we're going to start with our clarinet section over here. I'm going to ask them, I'm just going to introduce you by first name, if you wouldn't mind standing up when I say your first name. From your left to your right, we have Sheena and Will. Let's give them a round of applause. Thank you both. Clarinets are a single reed woodwind instrument, meaning there's only one reed that vibrates to make the sound. You'll see a variety of different instruments up here, some that don't use reeds at all, like flutes we'll talk about in a little bit, and some that use two reeds, the double reed instruments like oboe and bassoon we have in our back row. So we'll introduce them as we go on. Our next piece is entitled Anchors Away. You may better know this as the Song of the Navy, United States Navy. We hope you enjoy. Next, I'm going to introduce our wonderful flute section, and we have four awesome flutists today. If you wouldn't mind standing when I say your first name, that would be awesome. You guys okay? Just want to make sure you're okay before I introduce you. All right, from your left to your right, we have Anna, Katerina. Yeah, go ahead, Asta, and Maggie. Let's give them a round of applause. The flute is the only instrument on stage that does not use any type of reed. Ooh, and also piccolo, thank you, I forgot Asher, there was also a piccolo on stage. But that instrument makes sound using a vibrating column of air, unlike all the other woodwind instruments which use at least one reed. Thank you folks, you can take a seat. Our next piece is entitled High Fives, and you may be wondering, what, are we going to run across the stage and give each other high fives? It's entitled High Fives because this piece has 5 beats per measure. So you'll see us counting to 5 instead of the usual 2, 3, or 4 we're tending to be used to. We hope you enjoy. Here's High Fives. I'm going to take this opportunity to introduce our double reed instruments who are in the back row. So if you wouldn't mind standing when I say your name. From left to right, we have Clara and Anna. Let's give them a round of applause. We call them double reed instruments because they quite literally have two reeds. I asked them to show you later if you haven't seen. Those two reeds vibrate back and forth, and that's what makes that distinctive sound of an oboe or of a bassoon, like our two instruments we have. And I'm so fortunate that we have an oboe and a bassoon in this group, because there are years we don't. So I'm really, really glad that we do. Yeah, give a round of applause. Our next piece is called the barcarolle, and for those of you that may not know, a barcarolle is a type of dance, usually in 6/8. This barcarolle is based on the famous one written by Offenbach. And you're going to hear us start with the melody all together and then split off so that we have different parts of the melody. We hope you enjoy. This is our version of Offenbach's Barcarolle. Alrighty, we have one more person on stage we haven't introduced yet, so I'm going to take this opportunity to introduce him. On alto sax, we have Daniel. Go ahead and stand up so we can give a round of applause. The alto sax, just like the clarinet, uses a single reed as opposed to our double reed instruments in the back row, and hence has kind of a similar sound, although as you can see, pretty different looking instruments looking up here. Our next selection is the holiday/winter classic entitled Green Sleeves. You're going to hear us play both in harmony, where we hear different parts going at the same time, and also in unison, where we hear some of us moving and playing together. We hope you enjoy. This is our version of Green Sleeves. As you heard on that last song, two of our flutists switched over to piccolo, and that's that higher sounding flute that you might hear over top. Very, very traditional, expected kind of sound in that winter holiday kind of genre. Our next piece is an arrangement of Beethoven's Turkish March. So if you're familiar with the piece, awesome. If you're not, we hope you enjoy it anyway. Like most marches, we expect this to be in some kind of consistent tempo, as if we were marching down the street while we were playing it, though we won't. And also, it's a very familiar melody. If you haven't heard it before today, I suggest you go home and listen to Beethoven's version. Check it out. Here is our version of Turkish March. Alrighty. Our next selection is entitled Country Cakewalk. I'm not so sure about the country part, but a cakewalk, I can tell you, is a type of dance. Usually really popularized, we tend to think of the 1920s, 1930s of the period of the cakewalk, early jazz. And a cakewalk tends to have a lot of syncopated, what we call unexpected upbeat rhythms. So I hope you enjoy. This is our version of Country Cakewalk. If you came to our spring concert, you might have heard us play this there. Check it out. All right, we hope you're enjoying our concert so far. How are they sounding? They doing a good job? Yeah. I agree. Cool. Our next selection is a version of Adeste Fidelis, otherwise known as O Come All Ye Faithful. Very traditional melody, also we tend to hear around the winter time. One of the things I really love about groups like the Woodwind Ensemble is that each person in each section really kind of gets their moment. It's not like there are 40 flutes or 30 clarinets. There's only 2 or 4. So really, every member of the ensemble is super, super important. And I think you'll hear that in this piece. Check it out. Here's our version of Adeste Fidelis. Yes. All right, here we go. 3 weeks to get ready since we have and we get 1, 2, 3. Alrighty. Our next selection is entitled Mango Tango. I love the names that are of some of these. A tango, as you probably know, a traditional type of dance. You're going to hear some traditional tango rhythms and some traditional Argentinian rhythms in this as well as some interesting triplet rhythms that we really haven't heard in the rest of our pieces yet. So we hope you enjoy. This is Mango Tango. Alrighty, so our next selection is entitled Our Boys Will Shine Tonight, another traditional American folk tune. This selection is going to feature all the members of the group because, again, we start in unison. We all play the tune together at the beginning, and then we split into harmony, so you'll hear different parts happen later on. So here's our version of Our Boys Will Shine Tonight. Believe it or not, we have come to our last piece on the program. Although, after our last piece, we hope that you'll join us for a short reception in the auditorium. If you brought some snacks or goodies, after we finish playing, we're going to reset the stage a little bit. You're welcome to set up some snacks or goodies on the 2 tables on either side, so please feel free. And please feel free to partake, and thank you so much for coming out, whether you're live and in person or watching us from cyberspace. We really appreciate it. Our last selection is the famed melody Beauty and the Beast from the movie with the same name. So we hope you enjoy. Here's Beauty and the Beast. Thank you very much, folks. Thank you so much for coming. We're going to take a minute, reset the stage, and clean up after ourselves, and then we'll join you for our short reception in the auditorium. So please, if you brought some food, feel free to set up. We'll be back in just a second. Thank you so much.